Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday morning, and it is another episode of Wednesday Morning Cup of Crazy with me, Ross Allen Skorzewski. It's been a few weeks since I've been able to spend some time with you on these Wednesday mornings. We've been traveling. We've had our big seminar, and we're back, and we've got everything all set up in the studio again. I've got my cup of coffee here, and we shall partake together. But before I do that, I have to kind of just settle one thing here. I've got some onlookers in the studio here, and they were asking me some questions here real quick. And I do need to say this. Yes, ladies, it is true that back in 1992 and 1993, I did work at Yonkers, and I worked in the cosmetics, counter selling perfume and makeup. Now, does that seem a little bit crazy? Yes, it does. But I have to just say it is true. 421-933 was my number for Yonkers. So with that, I digress. They're sitting here and they're laughing because they didn't believe me. Why would I say that I worked at the cosmetics counter if it wasn't true? So with that, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for joining me. It's exciting to be back here. Let's take our cups of coffee and take a little sip of that organic. Hopefully that's what's in your cup, because it's what's in mine. The best part of waking up is organic coffee in your cup. So shall we partake, and we'll get started. Oh, it's like angels are singing to my taste buds right now. It is so good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, how have you all been doing? How has your quest for personal growth and development been going? How has been this concept of bringing out the best version of you? We're back into a new school year. Most of you have your kids back in school, and maybe some of you are like, yes, finally, some time for me. These rugrats are back in school, and the teachers can deal with them. Or you're just back into your fall routine where you're just going 100 million miles an hour. You know, it was nice maybe for the summer break because you didn't have to go, all the extracurricular activities, soccer, basketball, football. We're coming back into football here. But for all of you who are watching this, today we're going to be talking about the quest for validation. Okay? And I love this because I got asked, actually the whole team got asked a few weeks ago, by Dr. Patrick Flynn. If we were to write a book, what would the title be? And as you know, we're really big into personal growth and development here at the Wellness Way, not just here in the corporate office, but amongst all of our offices, because we believe that from the doctors to the staff, that if we're developing ourselves first, the byproduct of that is that as people come into our clinics, they're going to have an amazing time because we have our doctors and our staff working at optimal level, right? And you get to deal with the best representation of who they are, because it all starts with us. And to be okay, so why did I bring that up about him asking what the title of our book would be? Because I struggled with being able to come up with a title. And here's why, because honestly, for about 16 to 20 years, I never really fully had myself in the crosshairs. I had everybody else's dreams in my crosshair. It was like I was so willing to give and give and give and give and give of myself to help other people achieve their goals, their aspirations, in order to see them fulfilled and happy. But the reality was I didn't have my eyes set on me. And part of this was because I had a very unhealthy perspective of validation. It was almost as if I was doing for others in the hopes that their happiness and their fulfillment would become mine. And that's why I said, the quest for validation, what did I say, Nancy? It's a what? Exhausting journey. How many of you, and I know not everybody deals with this, but part of me being able to speak to you and share what is inside of me comes out of my life's experience. And I know that some of you will resonate with this. Parents, think about your children, think about your coworkers, think about the people that you do life with, but more than anything, think about yourself. Think about that. Validation. How many of you give of yourself so much every day to the world around you in the hopes or idea that they will validate your actions, they will validate your feelings, and therefore set into motion the idea that now you get to be happy? Listen to this. This is what validation is. Recognition or affirmation that a person or their feelings or opinions are valid and worthwhile. I love that. I really do, because it stings a little bit. because there's a part of me that sometimes has wrestled so much with my own outlook on myself, my own self-esteem, my own value, my own self-worth. How many of you have done the same thing? Parents, you give and give and give. Husbands, wives, you give and give and give, in the hopes that it's reciprocated to you so that it can fill that cup of yours that is defined as happiness. But what happens when the world doesn't respond? What happens when your kids don't respond in kind, when your bosses and your coworkers don't respond in kind, or your family or your in-laws don't respond in kind? It's like all your actions, all your feelings just go out there and the best parts of you, but then you're waiting for that to define you and to validate who you are as a person. And when they don't respond, you're left diminished. You're left depleted. You're left going, no matter what I do, it's just not good enough. And that's why I love this. It's got to start with us. It's got to start with you. The three questions that we constantly talk about here at The Wellness Way. What are you doing to develop yourself? What are you doing to develop your family and others around you? It doesn't start the other way. We talk about priorities all the time. Dr. Patrick Flynn does an amazing job. The priorities that I have in my life are faith, me, my wife, my kids, in The Wellness Way, and that's about all I can handle right now, okay? But there's so many of you out there who have your priorities completely backwards because you have your kids first, you have your husband first, you have your job first, all these other elements before you. And then I begin to think to myself, that's because we have such a skewed perspective of validation, and we're trying to just achieve so much in a day in order to find our ability to be successful. And I just think that's a little crazy. It is. It's an exhausting journey. I think we do. We've got to be willing to put ourselves dead in the center of those crosshairs and pursue a healthy perspective of self-image, self-worth. Do we need the validation of others around us constantly in order to tell us that we are succeeding at life? No. I think that once we get our priorities right, when it starts to look like you're at the top, if you're a person of faith, well then sure, your faith, then you, then your spouse, then your kids, then your job. Once you start to get your priorities right, I think the byproduct of that right living and giving proper adherence and attention to those priorities, the byproduct is that the world will validate you. The problem is that if your priorities are askew and you're nowhere near the top, then what you really are doing is action steps, and therefore I gotta give, and the world just continues to take. And at the end of the day, there's one person who's highly frustrated, exhausted, and looking for more validation to confirm that what they just did throughout the day made a difference. It's tiring. It's exhausting. So that question, if you were to write a book, what would it be? It was fun to be able to listen to a lot of the other staff members' titles, and I kind of really wrestled with it. And mine was, You Don't Define Me. And the reason why I said that, like I said, because I've spent so many years of my life trying to be the best that I possibly can in the hopes that the world would respond and applaud me and validate me, when what I really needed to do was develop myself, grow myself, and believe in myself, and know that as I'm doing life and I'm spilling out of the overflow of that development of me, that the world around me, the byproduct is they will validate me. But it doesn't start with the validation of the world coming to me first, telling me that I'm a rock star, that I'm amazing, and all these other things to ring my bell. No, now it's the idea that I can wake up in the morning because I've so gotten to the place where I'm in this harmony with this personal growth and development that yes, recognition or affirmation that a person or their feelings and opinions are valid or worthwhile starts with me. And maybe it's time for you to start with yourself and to believe in yourself and to place a level of value on you that is, incomparable to what the world around you is going to do. If the world gives it to you, bonus. If your kids give it, bonus. If your husband or wife give it, bonus. But if not, well, then you're not looking for this unrealistic expectation for the world to constantly put a smile on your face. It starts with you. It starts with me. Validation, the quest for it. It's an exhausting journey. But if it starts with you and you understand that out of the byproduct of your own personal growth and development, that maybe along the way, the world around you will respond and kind of give you a high five, then I say so be it. But it starts with you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this quick, amazing little in and out with a quick hit with me as we partook of our coffee this morning. Continued once again. I know you're going to have many more cups of crazy with me, Ross Alan Skorzewski. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.